YouTube drops in. Content on it. So Carson, I'm a WordPress evangelist, so my job is to convince everyone on the stream that WordPress is the news program.
For real combination, right?
Do you work on WordPress?
I do not. I currently work for a company called Fansided, a sports content writing company. 300 to 350, I don't know how many WordPress websites that we manage, and we're pretty hits on WordPress sites. How robust you could make your WordPress site. I can tell you can invite at least 30 million people.
Wow. No worries.
So you said you have 300?
Average 197 pages per month.
Where's it posted?
Right now it's a WPN. It's just down for 30 minutes. Like right.
You didn't like that, did you?
That's why I wasn't early.
You didn't like that at all, huh?
They're going for some updates. They have a new dashboard coming out. It's going to give you a bunch of analytics information about your websites, and what they have and whatnot. So, that's the engine. Yeah.
Where are they?
So, hello, my name is Madison, and I'm a web developer, and I'm here for the Meetup.
He's verbose.
Yeah.
Calm down, Madison.
When April went, I don't know a lot of you already, but I was here from Omaha in March, and I.
You're supposed to wait until like October to move to Phoenix. Right? Was it hot?
So I got a few clients in Omaha that I still support on their websites. I got a new one. I would like to get one. So, and before I really got into WordPress, I did email marketing.
I still have my skills website because I actually encourage you to have a name and actually start getting a follower.
And what's your name?
Susan. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Sid Taylor. I'm Sid.
Sid.
So I'm a British programmer by day. My interest in WordPress is more from a learning perspective to program as a hobby. So rather than professionally.
And Sid's presenting tonight as well. I don't know if you got you guys get the email, the updates from Meetup? Okay.
On my day, I have a fabrication shop and collecting WordPress and work on my website.
Cool.
What kind of fabrication?
Primarily race cars and hot rod and some part and smoker.
Or
16,000 captured.
Awesome. And I'm Mark Rutter, and I'm also learning WordPress. Oh, I'm sorry, you came in. We should.
Sorry.
Here, go ahead.
I'm Alice Baker. I am one of the co-executive producers for a website called Educated Geeks. My other executive producer is in charge of learning more about video content, and it's my job to learn more about the WordPress side of what we do.
Yeah. We had a presentation, content, YouTube, mostly about YouTube. Bob does video production, video content. Anyway, so I'm Mark, and I've been learning WordPress for about a year and a half. I was going to the Scottsdale Meetup, and I wanted get my WordPress fix, another meetup. So I asked Brandy if she wanted to start one on this side of town, so she did. Here we are.
I'm Brandy Lawson. My company is Tech Girl. I put technology to work for small businesses. I actually just gave a webinar today on automation in your business. So everything from email and websites to digital marketing and everything. So we are on the Hangout. So hopefully we have some people who were able to find us and join. The Hangout also means that this session will be recorded and on YouTube later for your listening and viewing pleasure. We are trying a new setup here, which means that the camera is on this, and the slide decks are always posted. So Doing the announcements and introductions, the next up will be open forum. I'll talk about creating a social presence tonight. And instead, our first member guest speaker, I'm so excited. Yay! I'll be doing Twitter 101 for us. And after that, general networking, chit-chatting, cleanup. The coffee shop does close at 9. So if you want to take the conversation to one of the other establishments that are open later, that sometimes happens. All right, let's look at some of you all working. Yay! All right, thank you very much to our meeting location sponsor, Headway Themes. If you're not familiar with Headway Themes, it is a excuse me, platform for developing your own theme. It's a framework. Mark and I both use it. They have generously sponsored the payment for this location. It didn't make the slide, but I'm going to thank Madison for being my coffee sponsor tonight. So I'm probably Madison. A reminder that we're now meeting the 4th Tuesday for the rest of the year. Mark and I were like, oh, crap, Tuesday.
Right, yeah.
Hang out on there, cover, Twitter, WPAZ, if you want to talk about what's going on, catch up, tweet out. That's our hashtag. And we're always looking for topic suggestions and volunteer speakers because it's great to have members of the community come up and share their knowledge. And you don't have to be a steeped expert, just something that you learned, something that you want to share, something that you think it took you a long time to figure out. If you'd like, you don't have to take a long time figuring it out. We welcome all of that. You don't have something off the top of your head tonight. Email Mark or I, put it on the media forum. We would love to have more sits. Okay, so Mark covered this part. Open forum. So here we're going to take 15 or 20 minutes and just talk about this. Kind of like talking. But if you have events, if you have something that's coming up, if you have a question or a revelation or anything else to share, now's the time. Go. Yeah.
I know some people use Headway Themes.
Yes.
And I got an email from them today saying they're offering 50% off their all access pass, which is normally $497. Which access to all the foundation. Not to like the hand that pleases this.
Well, actually, if they're doing a sale, I don't think that they mind us promoting it. Awesome.
Well, now, if that's for your subscription,
Yeah, okay.
Are there any other things?
PHP Storm 8 is out. PHP Storm 8 offers wizard-like WordPress integrations, developing feature plugins for WordPress. I highly recommend purchasing PHP Storm 8.
What's it called?
PHP Storm.
Storm.
It's made by a company called JetBrains. They make lots of IDEs for lots of languages. What else? I'll think of something else. You prefer that over Splotnet? Oh yes. And they implemented multiple cursives, which was the primary feature that most Sublime Text people say, this is why we stick with Sublime Text.
Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
Oh, I ran on a conference day that's happening the first week of October in Phoenix for local marketing. So people who want to know more about local marketing, it's actually a 3-day conference. The tickets are, I think, like $497, but I was looking through the speaker lineup. It looks pretty good. It looks pretty impressive. I stumbled on it because I met somebody who was with Mojo Video Marketing, and they're one of the sponsors. So I only briefly looked at the website, but I can post a link on our Meetup. But I was thinking, for local marketing, that was pretty impressive that there should be 3-day conference here. That was something that you needed more information on or wanted to about your skill set.
Did anyone go to that local conference? Or is that coming up?
It wasn't. I think it's still coming up. Because they talked about it as a developer meeting last Thursday. It's almost this weekend.
That's right, I have a conflict. I wanted to go, but I've got a conflict on Saturday.
I don't think that it's happening. Future Stack is in San Francisco on October 8th and 9th. New Relic, who is a website and server performance monitoring software company. Basically, you install the product on the server that you have or hosting your website on, and it tells you all sorts of useful information, like your database is really slow because this plugin that you have, or your website's down, you can't ping it, you have to be today. But they're really fantastic tools, and they give away really cool free features.
The way the web developers are.
And that's in San Francisco. It's really fun. I wish it wasn't so known about it earlier. That'd be a great conference.
Okay. Any issues or other things? I actually got an email today from iTeams saying that somebody had been on one of their servers that has their member database, so just be ultra super cautious. They were asking everyone who has an iTeams account to please change their password.
I got an email.
Yeah.
Interesting. Security software.
Nobody's safe.
Well, it sounded like it was more of a, like, somebody that they know.
Oh, really?
They don't think should have been doing certain things ended up getting. So it was more of a,
Someone's
they're
figured out
secure,
how to
but
do
they
it.
Yeah, only security for people, right? Wow.
Speaking of security, I've been trying to use LastPass.
Yes.
Is
And
there a steep learning curve, or is it just me as far as on the?
That's awesome.
Okay, that's what I keep hearing.
let's put it together. Maybe it's just because when it offers to save your passwords, it can be really subtle. And then what happens after
Sequence got
that?
that most of the way. I think I let it load everything, and then, you have like 10 instances of something you've done. And it's for all instances you ever have on your computer, it's all locked in there. And then using it on the phone, so, for me. So I would sit with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. On the phone, though, it only works
Through there.
online. It doesn't work on your apps,
So,
which is frustrating.
yeah,
You can look up this stuff.
Yeah.
You need a password. You can look it up.
it's to look it up. Right, because you did just change it all, if you got last, then all of a sudden.
We don't have to change.
No, we don't have to, but that, I thought that was the purpose.
Well, if you were at the point where you're like, I really should use a different password for everything, getting LastPass could tell us for that.
Yeah.
I signed up for it was an online ordering system for a company that I do graphics design for. This company does print stuff. They have an online ordering system, so I just let LastPass. And they called me and said, we can't use special characters.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so I changed it. Then the sales rep called me today and he goes, you have the longest password we have ever seen in our IT department. I'm like, seriously? Well, their website's shifted over to the web too, so they're still getting into the 2014 era.
It concerns me slightly that the salesperson knows that much about your password.
Yeah,
Good
right.
point,
Yeah, right.
All right. Anybody else? Blogs you follow, Twitter things that are
There's not a
interesting?
blog that gives a lot of good information.
Yeah.
It's by a team provider, they'll call Elegant Teams, but
Yeah.
whoever writes the blog has
That's good stuff.
interesting information,
I got an email from HubSpot. You know HubSpot.
Yeah.
Did you get their email? There was a bunch of bookmarks, about 150 bookmarks about marketing and broken down into different categories. It's pretty interesting, yeah. I mean, you can just read and look at websites forever, on any topic.
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself? I know who you are.
Sure. I'm Mike.
Okay, good, Mike.
Hi.
I was here the last meeting, one of the other calls.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. You do WordPress?
I'm working on mine before.
Are you? Cool. Okay.
It's a process.
And then,
I'm Jack.
right.
Took up WordPress about a year ago with Ivy, so I'll just, who knows which to do.
Oh, I do, and I just talked about it.
Did you? Cool.
Your name?
Oh, your name?
My name is Rajendra. I asked people to call me Raj.
Raj.
I'm an IT project manager. I I do for as a hobby at home.
It's a hobby? Seriously.
Yeah, some people watch football. Just learning.
That's awesome. Well, how do you like WordPress?
WordPress recently I went to Meetup somewhere near my house. East from so there I got an introduction to WordPress. Sometime back I started writing a blog, and then whenever I opened, it was long time, 6-7 years back. Whenever I opened my screen or my blog, this WordPress thing, I thought some kind of a virus or because it's like it's confusing. So I love doing it, and my attention diverted somewhere else. But recently, when I went through WordPress, I was amazing.
Right.
So now I want to learn more about WordPress, and I want to learn more technically. That's one good platform.
Cool. So you just had it, right, Seth? In Scottsdale, there's a meetup, also a WordPress meetup. Every quarter they have a developers meetup.
Oh.
So which is
We just talked about patrons and SaaS and WordPress options.
see, there you go.
Please don't mind me.
Oh, now YouTube's not going to let us throw our video out.
My aim is to see how we can put e-commerce application. I find this one to be more of a than writing anything from scratch.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it can be done. I have an e-commerce site, but I was talking to Bob today. There's another guy that does e-commerce, and he says that because of the security issues, he doesn't believe you should use your own built thing. You should use a ready-made, and there's lots of them. Problem I have with some of those is they charge you they charge you a percentage of every sale. There's Collusion, BigCommerce, Shopify. There's quite a few of them, And of course, you're always going to be limited in what it's going to look like because there's only so many themes. Whereas WordPress, you can make it look any way you want. So I don't know. I use WooCommerce, and it's a pain. It's work, but it can be done certainly. And there are a lot of shopping carts built.
What do other people use for e-commerce?
3D cart. I used 3D cart for like 4 years. Someone on for
3D cart.
It's completely customizable. I mean, you have to learn. There are templates, like you have our WordPress templates, so you can change literally any part of the site you want.
So it is WordPress.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's like evolutionary.
Oh, okay.
Hosted
Right.
solution, you pay depending on how many products you online.
Right.
So you would do that rather than using a plugin for WordPress?
It was easier because I didn't have to worry about security or payment providers or all that stuff.
It's completely
Their
somewhere
system,
else.
but somebody else has already figured all that stuff out. It's a cost analysis. Like, hey, yeah, it costs much more money, but I don't have the hours for it.
Right.
But if I had more time, I probably would do it either Magento or WooCommerce. Magento is a software platform. WooCommerce is obviously a plugin for WordPress.
Yeah, but you need other plugins though to make the whole thing work. Besides WooCommerce, you need payment gateway plugin. You should
You're
have
going
some
to just use
security.
PayPal, it's pretty simple.
PayPal's pretty simple, yeah, because it's
You
already
just
built
PayPal.
into
You
WooCommerce.
actually don't need a payment gateway plugin. You can actually just set up where it emails you, and it depends on how many orders you provide for. But it would just email you this customer wants A, B, C, and D, and then it gives you a total. You can call them or email them, or it just depends. If you have 500 orders a day, then obviously it would work. If you have 3 orders a week, I think you could handle maybe calling your customers, introducing yourself.
But it also depends on the customer's expectations of that
Exactly,
site
right.
and what they're ordering.
Yeah, I'm big on it.
But I set up a WooCommerce site with PayPal. It's pretty simple. The devil's in the details. If you're shipping the things
Right.
get complicated fast.
Oh,
Yeah. And then if you want to, because you can hook it up, another plug-in to the Postal Service, well, you can hook it up to UPS, FedEx, whatever. But then you have to enter in the dimensions so that it goes to the Postal Service and pulls the pricing so that it puts your price on there.
I don't think I would do any of that. I would do it for the parent organization at his school, and they
Oh.
would sell all their booster items and like homecoming dance tickets. You know, like
So
just,
no shipping then?
I don't think shipping, just
That'd
stuff
be
they
good, yeah.
pick up at school, that pay for
Right.
on the site.
Anybody else have an e-commerce site? Yeah?
I do. I use WP eStore in Tips and Tricks HQ. I sell books, downloads, digital downloads, and webinars and that sort of thing. It really wasn't designed for physical books, but I mean physical goods particularly. But if you're selling something easy like I am with a book, I just download I use PayPal exclusively, and I download from PayPal to stamps.com that sets all my books weigh the same. You know, there's 3 of them.
Right, yeah.
So that's fairly simple. But I'm looking at the Rainmaker platform from Copy Blogger. I'm looking at that. They don't have physical books, and they only integrate with MailChimp and Aweber. Just recently started using Mad Mimi, and I love it. Fantastic. If anybody's looking for a new, easy-to-use email platform, that's the one to look at. MadMimi.com. It was just bought by GoDaddy a few months ago. And
Mad Mimi.
M-A-D,
Like crazy
M-I-M-I.
grandma.
Anyway, I'm looking at it anyway because they have a introductory price, but it's all in one. You know, you can do e-commerce courses, e-courses, automated marketing, no updates. There's no, you don't have to worry about should I be on a virtual private server?
Right.
All of that stuff. It leaves you to concentrate on making money instead of the back end of the tech business. So,
Cool. And what's your name?
Barney Baby.
Barney, good to meet you.
Welcome, Brian. You missed the intro part, but we catch people as they come in.
That's me.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
Warren. Marcino's sister, he always ends up in charge of some of that. All right, so we covered our open forum, we covered introductions. Now we're going to launch to the two presentations. I'm going to talk first about establishing a social presence. This was a topic that was requested. I'm going to talk about it in a very broad and strategic sense. And then Sid's going to get up here and be specific about Twitter. And then we may just continue on down the list for Facebook and Google Plus, etc. Maybe intersperse one of those in each of our next couple meetings so that we kind of cover all the bases. So this is going to be broad and strategic, really talking about overall social presence. Yay! Okay, so before you start, or even if you have started, you should do 3 things you should do. 1, as with anything marketing, sound like a broken record, but with anything marketing, you have to know who you're trying to talk to. Even if I get out a megaphone and I start talking about the latest fashion and I'm standing in the middle of a technology conference, no one cares. So you got to know who you're talking to. Who's your target audience? Because you really can't do anything else before you figure this out. Now, with the digital age and with things as they are, you can say, okay, I think this is my market, and go down the thing, and go down the line and do this thing in text, and maybe come back and you tweak it. Or maybe you get to the point you're like, that's not exactly it. So don't be afraid to start somewhere. But you can't start with everyone, because everyone is not a target market, and everyone doesn't care what you have to say. So you have to figure out who you're talking to so you can talk to them about things that they care about.
Talking about developing a like a buyer persona type of thing.
If you want to get that specific, a blog persona, a buyer persona, a social persona, you can give this person characteristics like, okay, the people I'm trying to talk to is Jenny. She is 36 and has young children at home and wants to start her own business. And my other buyer persona is Todd, and he's 24 and just getting into, he's at work, but he really wants to start his side business. You know, you can give them personas to make them more real if you want to, but before you do anything, you have to know who you're trying to talk to. Ideally down to their eye color, but start with male, female, age range, demographic, you know, what are some of the characteristics? What makes them who they are? what makes them interested in things you have to say. So that's one. Once you know who they are, then two, you got to figure out where those people hang out. Because you see all those icons on the side? Yeah, those are all social networks. There's no way that you can be on all of them. There's no way you can sustain all of them. So how do you choose? Well, you know who you're talking to, and then you can figure out where they're hanging out. If you're talking to young mothers and housewives and women who like crafts, Twitter's not where you're going to go. You're going to go to Pinterest. If you're talking to young people or hip people, you're going to go to Instagram. If you're talking to, well, if you're talking to any, if they're, yeah, actually Twitter is kind of losing favor in favor of Snapchat and Instagram.
With the young.
With the young, I guess. Who figured out that if stuff sticks around on the internet, then eventually your employer finds it.
Your grandma.
Your grandma Google's your name, that's not bad. But Google Plus is kind of the exception because Google Plus is really tools, search engine adding. I'm like, oh, it's you, it's not me. Google Plus would be the only one that no matter who you're talking to, you want to be on Google Plus because really that's feeding your SEO. Just because Google has a social network isn't because they're trying to replace Facebook. It's because they want more information about the content that's out there so they can serve up better relevant results. So you would have Google Plus, but then the rest of it you add depend on who you're talking to. Honestly, 2, maybe 3. But that would be a bad thing. Because you can't sustain a true presence. You can't sustain the conversation if you're spread across 7 plus 9 networks. It just is not feasible. Plus, you're wasting your time. If you're out there doing all these posts and talking to and all this stuff, and the people that you're going to talk to aren't there, you're just throwing money out the window, just wasting your time. So, know who you're talking to, figure out where they're at. And 3, what are you going to say? So yeah, you can go through all the fun and setting everything up, but as soon as your page exists, you got to have something to say. So think about and determine what you're going to talk about, and get some content together, get your thoughts together, get your pictures, and what's your profile picture going to be, what's your banner image going to be, and once you identify which networks you want to be on, go figure out the dimensions, because YouTube banner images are like, I don't know, this big because they're designed to be on television. So kind of do your research, get some things in place before you go start creating accounts. You'll be better prepared, and once the account's created, you won't be like, oh gosh, it's one page. What do I say? Ah! So 3 things before you start. And if you've already started, you can still back up and do these things. It's just important to know this as a foundation. Because once you're there and once you're engaging, you are going to spend time maintaining your social presence. Make sure that that's time well spent. Questions so far? Yes.
Sure, I've got sort of a comment on it. People start their blog related to their business. I think it's not just me, but I don't want to go there and read about your product and you selling me on your product. If you're going to have a blog about horses, talk about horses. Don't tell me how you can sell me a horse because I'll read that once and go.
Yeah, actually, I'll get to that. Good point. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Move on. Right, move on. Okay, so now you're ready. You know who you're going to talk to. You know where they're at. You have something to say. You're going to get established. So you're going to decide which networks you're going to join. You're going to go create your account. For every social network, there's an account. If you're creating this account for your business or your brand or your group or your nonprofit, create that account with an address that's related to that. So don't go create your business account with your Yahoo address, unless that's what you're using for your business. Well, that's a whole other conversation. But think about your identity all the way down to the email address that you you're going to need a bio, a company description, a cover image, profile photo for every network. So That's going to take some time. It takes some effort. I haven't already done that for something else. You'll need to go get those things and put them together. And then you'll create your profile and your page for each network. So with Twitter being the one exception, most of the hierarchy works like this. You create a profile associated with that account. Now, you can go create a page. Now, the page is the business. The page is the group. The page is the brand. The page is not a person, but an entity that it encompasses many people. That's what a page is. So there's a profile and a page. And that is how Google Plus works. That's how Facebook works. That's how LinkedIn works. And we have a LinkedIn profile, and then you can go create your company page from LinkedIn. So that's kind of how the hierarchy works. You have an account, there's a profile associated with that account, you can go create pages, multiple pages. And once you have pages created, assign other people, other accounts to be managers. So, for example, when I go and I do something for a client and I set up their page, well, once I have their page set up, I make them a manager so that they can see all the back-end stuff for that page. And that's kind of how the hierarchy works, with Twitter being the exception, because there's not really every Twitter's flat. You have a Twitter account, and that's it. Everything else is more hierarchical. But if you've done some planning and thought about it, then you can be consistent. You want to use similar images on each network. You want to have the same or similar info on each network. You want to be consistent, because consistency is what helps reinforce your company and your positioning and your branding and all of those things that are important to establishing a presence. So, questions, comments, thoughts, feedback? I heard.
What do you think,
I
Brett?
do have a question.
Yes.
I worked with a customer today that when she first, before she hired me, she attempted to create a business Facebook page as though almost a person.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people do that. A business person, last name anyway. So it's still hanging out there. We tried to modify it. So today we got it just rolled in under her ownership.
Mm-hmm.
How do you ever delete an unwanted, obsolete?
Yes. But if you do it, it cannot be undone. And you can also change the URL of the Facebook page, but you can only do it once. So you have to be careful. And if it's a Facebook page, is it a Facebook account or is it a Facebook page? Okay, then you can delete a page, but if it's got likes or any of that, you can't transfer that anywhere. If you delete a page, it's gone.
How can you merge it so you keep the likes?
Not, I don't know the way to do that.
You say it on Twitter, but I don't think Facebook does.
Another point of it is changing their business name.
So you can change the name of the page, and you can change the URL. Yes, you can change the name of the business and change the URL. The URL is the only thing that can change once. You can change the name of the business on the page if you want to, but it's the URL you cannot change. Did you have a comment?
I was going to ask about cross-posting. So you got 2 or 3 accounts, and you slap the same stuff up on each one, or you're really just boring the people who are following you everywhere, or?
That's kind of a debate. There are people on both sides. There's one side that says don't ever post the same thing across networks. There's another side that says, hey, I'm on different networks because there's different segments of my audience on those different networks, and if I think it's relevant to all those segments, I'm going to post it across. It's back to know your audience and know who you're following you where, and analyzing your content. If I find something that is interesting to who I know are my followers on Facebook, I'm going to post it to Facebook. And it's not always the same between Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. Obviously, LinkedIn is more business to business. Twitter is more relevant and timely. Facebook, my following on Facebook tends to be smaller businesses, real entrepreneurs and moms. So I think about my content that way. It's not that I do cross post, but I also try to keep things on different timing. So if I posted something today on Facebook, I'm not also posting it on Twitter. It may go on Twitter tomorrow or next week. It may go on LinkedIn 3 days from now, if it's relevant to all three of those channels. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
We always post everywhere, because for us, and it could just have to do with our industry, because it's sports. But all of these things are just different channels. So, like, the question might be for a larger company, where do we put our TV commercials? So we recorded 30 seconds, 60 seconds, where do we go? Do we go on a channel out there, or do we just go on local channels? Where do we go? So we consider this different social avenues the same way. If I'm on Twitter, I'm probably not also on Facebook and on Pinterest and on whatever. I will only use Twitter to get all my updates. Otherwise, I'll spend all day just social stuff and I'll never do anything. So for us, it's just a channel, and so we don't ever expect somebody to Facebook page, find us on Google, find us on Twitter, everywhere. What we anticipate our visitors doing. They probably go, oh, I use Google, click Google. If we don't cross-post everywhere, they don't get it. So, like Rick said, it's a lot like target marketing. So something more specific like services or retail will be a little bit different. But I think just remember, if on Twitter, on Facebook, Pinterest, that's where.
I was going to add, we kind of presume, although I would disagree somewhat, that not just because you use Twitter doesn't mean that you don't use any other social network. I think several people use more than one for different uses, right? So if I want to be up on the latest Geek TV premieres, which are happening right now, I'm going to be on Twitter. I'm going to be like tweeting with thousands, millions of people on TV. But, I do craft stuff too, so I go to Pinterest. So for me, it's not that as a person, I only use one social network, it's that I use them for different things, which is something else that we touched on. But I would say we do, when we have new content go live on the website, we do post that announcement on every single network that we are involved in. But we're fortunate that we have enough people that we have a different individual assigned to each network that we're on. So the voice that comes through is unique. It's not like we're using
some identical post that goes across all.
Yeah, I'm trying to not tweet that. What am I thinking? Hootsuite. It's not like we program Hootsuite and it all goes out canned. Each individual brings their own voice to the post that they're doing. And subsequently, for the non-content posts that we make, each individual gets to pick what they repost and reblog, so it comes out as a different voice everywhere. It's kind of nice, but I realize not everyone has all the people to be able to do that. So.
You can employ a person for each channel. That's awesome. Very good. All right, so on to the slide. So you're established, you've got all your pages, you've got all your bio, your description, your pretty pictures, and then social. That's kind of the point. You've got to connect with people, follow friends, like, pin. You have to go out and engage with that social channel. You can't just sit there and start publishing stuff and expect people to find you. You have to go engage. You have to go be social. You have to go interact. Just posting's not enough. You have to be social and interact. And commenting, not just liking. Like button's really easy on Facebook, but commenting, actually engaging people in conversation. It's a great opportunity to solicit feedback. It's a great opportunity to go out and make meaningful comments on other people's items and establish yourself as somebody who has something interesting to say, not just posting. Participating in groups and events. So this is another thing. Twitter is very real time. So if your audience is on Twitter and you want to be on Twitter, you should participate in Twitter events to kind of start to see a way to build an audience. Are places to be seen and to contribute. Here it is, the rule of 90-10. 90% of your posts should be value add for others. Not advertisements for your business, Not talking about what to do, not anything about you. Leave the ego somewhere else. 90% of your posts should be value add, things that you hear about, not what we want to tell. 10% can be promoting your business. But that's your audience engaged. So nobody's going to come back to your post or like your page if all they hear about is you. I'll talk about you. Then have a plan. The only way to keep your momentum and post regularly, which is critical. Doesn't matter which social network you're on. If you're not participating with grand regularity, then that means every day. Weekends. All it is. Every day. If you don't have a plan, nobody can sustain that. That's just not, it's not real. But the larger your audience, the more likely it is that people are on at all times and all hours of the day and all days. So, figure out what you're going to talk about, when you're going to talk about it, how you're going to stay ahead of it, what you can schedule and what you can do real time, when you're going to schedule in your time to do social media. Because if you're going to be successful, you have to be consistent, you have to participate daily, and you're going to have to put it on your schedule. Now, this is where WordPress comes in, because if you are creating your own content, you want that to be somewhere else. You do not have control of the content. You don't. Facebook changes things all the time. Just ask anybody on the internet. Instagram changes things all the time. So if you want control of your content, you have a blog. That's where you are creating your content. That's where it's still the 90-10 rule. They don't care that it's your blog and you have control, and you're still going to be creating value and helping others, giving them information that they need. But you create your blog, WordPress, then you use that as your hub, and then you can schedule. I've started using, so Hootsuite's great. I've started using a tool called CodeSchedule, which actually lives within WordPress, and allows me to schedule my blogs and my social posts. So I create my blog, then at the end of my blog, posts that are going to go out today, tomorrow, 3 days from now, next week, a month from now, et cetera, and it's all right there on my blog page. Okay. Schedule. But this is where WordPress comes in, because it can be the hub for all of these things going on. So if you've got your editorial calendar and you're creating your blog, and you've got Feedly, and you're buffering all the interesting things that you're finding there, these things can work together in harmony, and you can sustain your conversations. Plus, you still have your 15 minutes every day that you go and actually engage with the network and make comments and notifications.
And I think once you start posting on a regular basis, now you're actually going to gain followers.
So I think of it this way. So SEO is great, but SEO takes time, and SEO is art. So if your blog is perfect for SEO, it's still going to take time for it to filter to the top. So you're creating your content, but if you want really people to know about it, that's what social networks are for. You're out there, you're engaging with people, you're building an audience through all those channels. And what's awesome is that it's all advertising. You don't have to have $1 million. You don't have to have a large video production budget. You don't have to have a lot of things except for a plan and some time set aside, some consistency to go capitalize on this marketing channel that's now available to you. Questions?
As in, this is the end of your presentation.
And then this is the end. Yes, and then this is the end.
How do you create a value-added proposition for social marketing?
How do I create a value-added proposition for social marketing?
Social marketing costs money.
Yes.
Where do I get my money back? Why should I do this?
Well, what's your marketing budget? If your marketing budget contains dollars, that's awesome, and you measure your
I have
ROI.
$1,000 a month to spend on social marketing.
So you have to measure. So Hootsuite has built-in link measuring tools, so you can see how many clickbacks there are. You use Google Analytics to see if you're driving traffic to your site. You also use Google Analytics to set goals. So it depends on what your site is. If my objective is to grow my blog readership, and I'm using social to do that, then I'll be measuring my return on investment. My investment being my time at this point, because I'm not actually putting dollars to it. Or if you're doing ads, measuring how much you're spending and how much your time versus am I achieving my goals? Did I get an increase in traffic, and what is that increase in traffic? And you want to get down to the nuts and bolts so that you can assign that a dollar value. So then you can say, okay, I spent X amount of money, or my time times my rate equals X amount of money. And here, did I achieve my goals? Because one new visitor to my site is worth $3 to me. You can derive that another way, or you can start with just what you think is worth to you, because over time they'll probably convert to something else. Or and they visited this page that I want them to visit. Or I got them to sign up for my email list, and this is what each one of those sign-ups are worth to me. And then you put your equation together. Okay, I spent this much, and I got this much. Am I getting a return on my investment? Am I breaking even? Or is my investment way more than what I'm getting? If that's true, then you need to analyze what you need to be doing with your investment, or find it into it.
Do you agree with that?
What do you sell?
The latest trend in social involvement from businesses is that you shouldn't be doing it. It's another marketer's way to be involved in communities that were not intended to be marketing to. It's not saying you shouldn't do it or it won't help the business, but those are the articles that I'm reading right now by professionals that I trust. And again, it's not always about return of investment. It is that marketers are ruining social networks. That's basically what it comes down to.
That's the 90-10.
So if you are following the 90% of posts are this value, they're not spamming Twitter with 5,000 feeds, of garbage. That's one thing. And you're adding to the community, and hopefully you're creating good content. But that's really expensive. Yeah, I mean, to do it this way, it's really, really expensive. So your ROI is going to kind of look awful if you follow I'm going to give away 90% of my profits.
Well, but you can also look at it a different way in that, what are the other avenues? So you could, your time or your budget, that you're going to spend promoting your business. You can spend it on radio advertising, you can spend it on print advertising, you can spend it on SEO, you can spend it a lot of other ways. And actually, once you have a social presence established, social advertising is starting to be the best ROI of all. But your equation is unique to you. What your goal is, if your goal is just establishing expertise, because ultimately what you want to do is you want to be a speaker who's paid to go to conferences, but you have to have expertise to do that, then your equation looks a lot different than someone who's trying to sell an ebook, than someone who's trying to sell e-commerce. Because if you've got a hard good that you're trying to convert to, then yeah, your equation is a lot different than someone who's trying to build expertise, or a big company who's trying to build. It's all about what are you trying to do? The strategy you're trying to talk to, and the rest of the things that we talked about. And then you have to decide your return on investment, because that's not wrong. This is expensive. It takes time. It takes a lot of planning. It takes work. And you could decide that, hey, my time is better spent doing something else, in turn, or you decide that there's a better channel to market to. So social is very acceptable, and the costs, I would say, can be more hidden because it is time and not necessarily hard dollars. So everybody kind of jumps on the social bandwagon and goes, yeah, I need social presence. But like anything that you do in your business, you have have to evaluate, what are you trying to achieve? Is this going to help you?
I think if you have followers, and Seth Godin talks about building a tribe of people that believe like you, that trust you and stuff, and you begin to build up that audience is what we call it, but it's still people, using all these different social media, they're promoting something on yourself. They're going to continue to promote it for you because they're like, ooh, look what I bought.
Well, that doesn't really define the essence of social marketing. What you're talking about is very organic, and that's not a daily posting of like valuable content. That's like.
Well, you have to start to build.
Yeah, I agree. So social would be what marketers want social to be is in 3 weeks I have numbers and I can go, look at this. This is awesome. And what it really is it's just like SEO, and it takes 1 to 2 years before you get traction at all. And that is so hard.
Well, also the differences between the marketers of the olden days of putting a bunch of TV and radio ads up and expecting a certain percentage of buyers from that, rather than the investment into the social media realm. And they're trying to see the immediate return, but I think it's a longer term game, to get followers. That now every time you post something, it goes viral. There's got to be a lot of value in my mind.
Well, but not everything goes viral, and we're always marketers. If we want to make the products really fresh, are always looking for the next. Like, what can I spend the least amount of effort, time, money to get the most return? And what lead yesterday? My sales team needs this. We want to turn nothing into profit now. So there's always going to be those people out there. But I think social gives us a unique opportunity to talk to people as small businesses that we wouldn't be able to engage with otherwise. Each one of you has to decide where the value is for your business and how much you're willing to invest in it.
Would you say that there are some places that you just do, like, this is an example, my mom creates jewelry at home. What does she get a blog about? What is she going to say? There's really no social.
Sure there is.
Pinterest.
Okay, it's simple. I shouldn't say it's simple, but if she's going to blog about something, she needs to develop a following who want to come there. So how does she do that? She says, okay, I know about making jewelry, and what she could do is she could say, have a blog where she's talking about the pros and cons of setting a gem into a ring, or a technique, or something she's learned, that she can get input from other people, but she's not talking about herself, she's not talking about her sales, but she draws people there because they know that if they have a question about jewelry, especially after doing it for a while, or after putting different blogs on how to make necklaces, or maybe there's a cool place in Tucson to get stuff. So she starts to implement discussion with a group of people about what she does, maybe not her, but the industry. And people learn that they can come there to learn something or gain something. And in the side note, they also know that she does have a business. And there's where, like I said, I don't want to come and see, I don't want to be bombarded with your business, but if I want to learn about electronics, we all do this, right? If you go to YouTube, if you want to be on YouTube and you want to do electronics, start putting on how to build an electronic system for your house and tie your business into that on some of your products. That's the way I would see it, because I'm with you. I don't want to see, and I think there's certain businesses maybe that you can't do that, but I don't want to be bombarded. I don't want it to be a sales ad. I want to go there for content. Does that make sense? I gotta say, I don't need everything to have a blog.
Yeah.
Just because you're selling me something doesn't mean I give a damn about how you make necklaces. Just tell me the best, prettiest necklace that you have.
Right.
I just don't think everything needs a blog.
No. Topics for art. 52 blog topics for arts. I wrote that post. My post is for my art print issues. Blog is for artists. There's going close to 600 posts on there, so I could away a lot of stuff. That's one of them, and there's not one of those 52 posts, other than the last one, which is the blog about how wonderful I am. It's a suggestion. The rest of them are just ideas that you can blog on. The reason I wrote it, here is hot topics for an entire year without you ever talking specifically about this painting or this sculpture or anything like that. You just gotta use your imagination. You know?
It's interesting you brought up about art, because I go to the art museums and I'm always reading the little caption about what the artist was thinking and dealing with. And in my mind, it's just a bunch of hooey. You know, it's just,
How do they know?
well, the artist was going through this, you know, existential period in his life, and he was trying to, and I'm just like, seriously? I think that's what sells the art. I think that identity with the artist is what people really are buying.
So back to, we always hear that you do business with people. People do business with people who want to do business with other people. So I don't know if you're familiar with Pioneer Woman. So she lives out in Oklahoma. She lives in Oklahoma. And she just started blogging. She just started blogging about random crap in her life, or stuff that she does, just started blogging. Like, just raw sentences, just stream of consciousness, blogging. And people started finding her. And then they loved what she was saying. And they just started just going, and she built a brand from a blog also. Her blog turned into a show on the Food Network, cookbooks, I can't even tell you, children's books. She's got all kinds of things because she just started going, this is me and this is my life, and I'm out in the middle of Oklahoma, and I need somebody to talk to, honestly. So, but that, I think, is a great demonstration of how just being a person can help you do business. So if your mom could just talk about who she is, what she does, and she's gardening or whatever. It doesn't have to be related to a jewelry making, but if you can relate to her, then you're like, you know, I know somebody who makes, oh, I love her. I want one of her jewelry pieces. You know, it's that relationship, and that's, and blogs don't have to be written. Podcasts, videos, lots of artists are like, I can't believe it's word down the page. Fine, it doesn't matter. Take your iPhone out into the garden with you and go see it.
Well, the Jones lady in the early days of the internet, she put up her own website for basically about her family. And she lived on a farm and out in the middle of nowhere. She called it Tumbleweed Farm. Next thing she knew, she had people, you know, emailing her wanting to buy tumbleweeds from her. The first one she seen a tumbleweed,
She'd never seen a tumbleweed.
She went out and locked one up and sent it to her.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm sure we could go on about this all night, but we're going to let Sid do his thing here. Are you on the Chromecast? You can take it over? Awesome. I'm going to stop broadcasting, maybe. Okay. There you are.
Hey.
Everybody? Sid! Woohoo!
All right, so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Sid. It's actually Scott. I don't think anyone wants to talk about either, so I shortened it. Yes. So I have two Twitter accounts. So my personal one is glasses. I've been doing that for some time, actually. So I've been doing that for a few years. That was even before Twitter was used by marketers. So that's what it was. But this presentation came about simply because I started doing some consulting and I created another Twitter account for consulting, which is the one that you see out there. So I started doing research on how can I do marketing. So some of this is self-learned. I'm not a marketer. I'm more an engineer. So I do a lot of projects in that. So this is stuff that I think should be good. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be completely wrong. All right, let's get started. Our agenda is going to be 10 minutes on getting started, 20 minutes on marketing, so forth. It's an open discussion, of course. But before I even get started, how many people used it? Awesome. How many people don't? So, all right. So the first few 10 minutes is going to be for the people who don't use it. And what is it? It's a global my definition is it's a global communication platform. I'm highlighting the word global simply because it means you can be tweeting in Brazil and somebody in Italy could be following you, right? Or the example could be you could be tweeting about weed and someone in England could be buying stuff from you, right? So it's the same thing as a blog. It is global, specifically shorter messages, right? So it's 140 characters at a time. It's great if it's Chinese because each character is a word. So you can make a blog with Twitter if you want to. Not so good for us. And every space is a character too, right? So that's the problem. But the best part about it is that it's two-way communication. I just put that out there simply because the blog, you write a post, and sometime later someone comes to you, perhaps. Whereas with Twitter, it's instantaneous. So you see someone tweeting, you can reply back to them. You see something that you like, you could do something with it, so on and so forth. Right? So Twitter is two-way communication. It's smaller. You can use it to market your business, event, or business, obviously. Smaller, big, everybody has a voice. And that's the best part about it. The best part of all the social networks. So it doesn't really depend on the cost, right? What I personally use it for is to find information that someone has put out there, which is not necessarily showing up in the first few hits of Google. So usually I find that very useful. The people I follow, I ask questions sometimes and I share answers as well, so I find that useful. So I primarily use it for information. That's my view of Twitter. You could tweet about anything you want. You could tweet about the game that happened. Obviously, on the slides as I was seeing balls. So I'm a bit happy to turn the partners of this 49ers game. You can write about local politics, about state politics, national politics, even international politics. I'll give you an example. With one people, you are stuck on 101, and there's plenty of water reaching your steering wheel and stuck in water. So that could be a tweet too. Probably better to get out of the car before the tweet, right? So that's one example, but anyway, that's just a joke. But mainly, you could use it to share a tip or link to something useful. The market will probably be interested in the last point. Okay. So what are we going to do? How do you get this back? And sign up. Simple. All we need is an email address, which I'm sure everybody in the room has. Some name, use any name that you want, and a password. Make sure it's strong. Right? Step 2. Let's tweet about this meeting. So anyone tweeting about the meeting right now? Okay, so Brian is out there. And the only thing is, if you're not new to Twitter, so I'm just going to introduce a term called hashtag, which hopefully you will have heard about. All I'm saying is, end your sentence with hash, WEAZ. That means WordPress, Arizona. Please end it with that so that it becomes easier for us to search. So let me give you an example of what I mean by search. So I've got search going here, and it shows all the people tweeting.
Woohoo! Somebody's watching the live stream.
And they're watching the live stream, and you can see Riley's tweet right up there. Right. So anyone else wants to tweet something? Give it a shot, Mark. Okay. Let's see.
I posted a picture of it.
Oh, you did?
They have to put the photo.
Some notifications for that.
Yeah, Brandy.
Okay, yeah, there's a picture right there. Alright, okay. And if I refresh it, hopefully we should see more live streams. Anyone is posting. But if you go down, you can also find interesting things. As a developer, I actually find this interesting. That's talking about something that's interesting for me. I tweeted a little bit before the event, and I also retweeted what Mark put up, and then back, so on and so forth. So you can actually go down and see.
Explain green.
All right, so let's try a few things on this. Is the question we have. Since let's take something that's interesting. Oh, so Mark is really saying that the Northwest Valley WordPress is happening right now. So you have a few buttons out here, and I agree with them, and I like it. And I want my people to know about it because people are following me or my audience. So what I'm going to do is just click on it. And it says, okay, this is what your audience would see. That is the people who follow me. When I retweet this, you will see it come up there. So it's a very easy way of doing it. And at the same time, if I want to, I could also apply to Randy and say, and that's it. As simple as that. The first page, hopefully, you should start seeing more things happening. Essentially, the point is you're having a conversation live right here. So the point about Mark's tweet and my retweet is real time. It has no value tomorrow. It doesn't have any value even later. It has value now. And that's the point. It is real time. It is two-way communication. I agree with that. So I retweeted it to people for following me. I wanted to have a conversation with, and so I said, be here, see that right over there. So all the people following her can also see that, and anyone searching for this can also see this conversation. Somebody else could reply to me as well and add to that conversation. So it's all real time, it's great for engaging with your audience. So, anyone else is speaking?
Talk about how do you, like, let's say there was a terrorist threat or something. How do you search for up to the minute topics if you don't know that hashtag?
Okay, so I think the best thing is that there should be a trending over here. Down on the left.
Yeah, you just.
Let's go down faster. So you can see the trend. There's a lot of trend stuff going on here. There's about 6. You can also change your trends, tailor just for you, so on and so forth. So you can keep it specific to Arizona if you want. You could keep it specific to the US. You could look for things that you're interested in. And rather than the website, there's actually other tools that help you do that and help you look at that.
Yeah, it should.
Right. So, great question. So let's search for IPs. We just talked about remote a few minutes back, right? And I think they said that you didn't get an email that said that they had security problems. So here's somebody saying, I don't get email new password. Here's somebody that's saying important security update for all our customers on WordPress. Okay. Here's something that says, repeat the special announcement about it. New word, WordPress, September 19, something from Backup Buddy, which we talked about, I think, in previous WordPress. So lots and lots of things that are there that come up, but based on that.
When you put the search in, is that checking for hashtag comments, or is it just text in the?
So this is just text, and it's trying to match it. But you can see what it's trying to match. It's trying to match people. It's trying to match photos and keywords. But it's also trying to match possibly things that you might do. Well, this is what Twitter thinks is important. So let's give another example as well. So what do you want to search for? Let's search for hurricane. Sorry?
Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Over now.
What is it called?
Oh, there's a bunch of them. You got names.
Yeah, I got names. Was it called Odila or something like that? I think it's called Odila.
Odila.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay by some. Atlantic. Not us. So
That's just happened after tweet 48 seconds ago, right?
yeah, that's that. But the interesting thing is also we will bar. It was probably one of the things as it's all of these, which are ones that are closer to home. Right? So these are the hashtags. So if you want to see people working in Baja or can be building stuff up there. Right up there.
So you've done all those, you know, pick one, is that what you?
Yeah, sure, why not?
So it's sort of expand and then you get rid of the rest.
Let's try rebuild Baja, right? Rebuild show some pictures. It's coming up, okay. There's somebody who's probably for some time, and I think this is something good because they're talking about donations. I want my people to know about it.
Yeah, but look at who sent it. It's sponsored by Cabo Escape Tours. So,
Well, I think this is not a sponsor. I'm just giving an example. Doesn't matter. Maybe we find something that is closer to your heart. You do that. And like that. That means your interest.
So then you pick someone and start talking to them?
Oh yeah. So,
I'm asking, because I really, I mean,
What
it all looks formed.
oh yeah, so the next step. All right, okay, you think this person is interesting, right? So let's take this person and search. We go take photos about whale watching and blah 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 blah, and just click on the follow button. That's it. That's it. What it means is that if I go to Twitter, on my timeline, if I log into Twitter, I'll actually find things which are related to what they do. So people I follow, whatever they tweet comes up here. So I'm interested obviously in TechCrunch. I have a few friends that I follow. I'm interested in cloud, so on and so forth. So based on my interest, I see tweets related to
From people that you follow.
from the people that I follow. Yes, absolutely. And over time,
Like Facebook.
sorry.
There's a picture that says do not use popcorn, but
Just telling you don't use the popcorn button on microwaves.
Okay.
It's like suck.
Okay. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
And some people do post dribble.
But the pop cards actually says on the cover that you're supposed to migrate from so I don't know if you can do that. If you want to heat up a pop card, 3 seconds, that's it. Okay, so you can read that if you want to.
I'm just thinking from experience. Sorry, is that from experience?
No, that's not the cover. Okay, all right, so you see out here, okay, that's an interesting thing. So somebody else has retweeted it 2 times, but click on favorite. I think that you see this other part of the favorite. Love it. Because you're not saying it. It's interesting. And you can actually
Set it up so that any time that your tweets are favorited, you get a text message came through your tutorial.
Validation, yay.
Yay.
So what determines whether the image is actually displayed or not displayed? Is it just an algorithm within Twitter?
I think there is a setting that you can do to not show, at least for some tools. For instance, almost all things go through their own p.co redirecting service, and all the pictures are posted on Twitter as well.
Well, yes, but in some cases you'll see the show photo, right? But then in some cases it will actually be
Or to show photos, what shows up before the text is recreates the image, that's a copy over to the server. But I think that they all, many JPEGs and GIFs, they all have.
Yeah, the only annoying thing I find about it, about the pictures, is I take a screenshot, the text will compress it, especially where it is. So that's just me.
It also depends if you use Twitter itself. You look at Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not in charge of Twitter, but the young lady who does do Twitter, when we announce our content, there's always an image associated with it. So I know that there's an image associated with every single tweet that she sends out that's about our contact, but I never see them.
Where are you looking at? Where are you reading
So
your Twitter?
typically I'm on a computer looking at my Twitter.
Are you looking at Twitter or are you
I'm
looking
looking
at?
When you're an optimal size, that, like I know on Facebook, they like 600 wide by 315 feet. That's going to get you a full page post versus something that's a little thumbnail. And I think Twitter has the same thing. There's an optimal size.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, but it's really not compressive. It's really not with size that makes sense.
Well, it may be a setting. It may also have to do with popularity because this one is retweeted and favorited, whereas the other ones haven't had any of that.
So one of the edicts in our company is everybody goes in and retweets and favors everything that gets posted.
What are you looking at? Are you looking at it before it happens?
No, it's after. If I go back to the Twitter feed now, I can go back months and I don't see anything. I'm so confused about that.
That means switch back. Just start giving you a small taste about it. That's how you get started. So I'm hoping that the people who are already on Twitter are going to be on this. So that's the goal. And if you do, tweet about it saying, we use this hashtag.
So, and that hashtag, you can actually, if you use Hootsuite or something, you can actually follow that Twitter stream.
Yep.
And so anytime anybody posts using that hashtag, it will show up as well. Right. But,
One of the things I wish Twitter, the actual Twitter, that sounds funny to say, would do better, but you can create lists, but they're so buried within Twitter. Whereas if you're using a tool like TweetDeck or Hootsuite, you can say in this column I want to see all my film people, in this column I want to see all my geek people, in this I want to see all my friends and family. And I wish the actual Twitter had a way to handle that.
Well, actually, TweetDeck is from Twitter.
Well, but so you can do the list, but it's buried. So if I want to look at my list, I have to go and find it and then click on it, and it's very buried. Whereas with TweetDeck and Hootsuite, it's just there for you.
Well, actually, one of the things I was going to say towards the end is actually what I was going to say, don't use Twitter.com, use the tools.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to say that you actually proved me right. So saying, yeah, use the tools, don't use the website. Yeah, the tools are better. At least in my experience.
I never go on Twitter.com. I
doesn't make sense. Far easier to use.
just live on Hootsuite. I don't have time for,
It's far easier. Far easier. That's true. Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Okay, so congratulations. Now we are on Twitter, hopefully. That's for everyone. And a couple of experts that I follow, I put up the name up here. I'm not a WordPress expert, so you don't see my name over there. I'm interested, but I'm not an expert. So they are Mark, this is the Grandies, I said, those are good right for all things.
Exactly.
So these are the guys I follow. And question on this is what's your name? So follow me if you want to read about it. Read about this. I follow it. Easiest step one. Step one, go to twitter.com, create a handle. Follow these guys. WordPress. It's probably not. Okay. Let's try some things right now. I think we did this, we tweeted, we replied, we read something, so we tweeted it. You can follow someone, sure you can do that, you can follow back. You can favorite a tweet as well, like. So usually what I've seen is that if you strongly agree, you tend to retweet it. If you kind of nod in that direction generally, then you can favorite it. That's what I've seen. I've also seen cases like there is that when you're using Twitter for sport, and some customer actually says something good about you, you can favorite it. I've seen that happen as well because you want to actually see all of the nice things about yourself once in the place. So I've seen that as well. You can follow someone, if someone follows you, you can follow back. Because it's always that there is some kind of interest that's gone. One thing I will say about Twitter as opposed to Facebook is that you tend to be a little bit more anonymous here. So Twitter isn't for your family and friends per se, as opposed to Facebook. So it's more about your interests. Right? So it's more about your interests. Firstly, I don't have my family on Twitter. I don't think they use Twitter, but I do use it for people that I know professionally. And I would want. Facebook is for my photographs of so I said. All right, it's all fine and good, but what's got to do with marketing? This is my take on it, and we have a lot of marketing experts who can say I'm wrong. So I'm hoping that that comes up. So let's see what we have. All right. Okay, so let's jump back a few slides. So I made a big statement saying it's a global communication platform. So I'm going to repeat it again. It's a global communication platform. Translation, you can use it for marketing, because you can build an audience globally for a very low cost. Or you can have specific people on it, or you could be doing it as well. So it really depends on what it is, but you can use it for marketing. And we're going to talk about that. Mainly through my ideas. So again, I got this point at the bottom over here as discussion, so that you can see about that. Idea number one, make it easier for your audience to do. Mark shared a link with me earlier, which talks about the various plugins that you can have for WordPress, which integrated. There's one that already got as well with the scheduler, right? So that's a great thing. I was really interested in that as well. So these are things that you can find. But really, the question, basic question that you want to ask is, why do you have a social sharing button? Any thoughts?
So you get followers.
And I can go and follow on my own. Why do I need a button?
Makes it convenient.
Exactly. So it makes it convenient.
I don't have to figure out that you're short-sighted sit. That's
Right.
I'm not going to get it there that way.
And there's also another thing to it. So you can configure the button such that if someone clicks on the button, it always puts my name or my handle or a tag that I want in that tweet by default. Which the person can edit if they want to, but we are essentially driving a particular behavior, right? So when you tweet on it, if you allow someone to tweet on their own, they can tweet whatever they want, obviously. There are two, they can do whatever they want, but when you click on a button, you can pre-set the text in. Makes it easier sometimes, but it also means that you can interact with them later on. So if they tweet something that says, hey, I just post about XYZ, and that has your handle in it, you get a notification that someone has tweeted about that on your Twitter feed. So then immediately you could respond to that, you could favorite it, you could retweet it, you could reply to it. So it helps you a lot by having this button. Okay. Idea number two, tweet your content. And this is something that's a little odd because new posts really should be tweeting about it, right? So you should wait for people to come to you and then tweet. You should tweet about it. You should be the first person to say, hey, there's this new thing out there. You want to put it out there. Obviously, the 90-10 rule applies. You want to put about, you don't want to be self-promoting too much, but you do want to put a share, a billboard, a Facebook page, or upcoming event, tweet about it. That's the rule. Really, the question I want to ask is, should you tweet your own content?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? Why do you guys? It's a
A lot of
stream.
people never stop.
Exactly, right? So it's possible. It's simple as that. It's all content, but it's still relevant. It's probably still relevant. And this is the mistake I did. So I'm putting this question here. This as that I would tweet only something then and there. I would forget about the stuff that I've done. But obviously, there's still content that's useful. Should be there.
About 3 times a week, I go on my sidebar on my WordPress site, and I have the widget for favorite post 75. And usually my most recent post is number 1, but there's 4 more, and it's always interesting to me to see what they are because it varies.
Yep.
And I'll always post all 4 of those using Hootsuite so they're one right after the other, but I will do that about 3 times a week. Sometimes if it's a really good post, like I know this one went nearly viral, you know, I've reposted how to sell art to interior designers probably 50 times, and it gets retweeted all the time.
The same article? Same article.
Okay, so that's good.
I've never had anybody complain to me and stop doing that. So, and
Yeah,
if they did, I would just delete them from my Twitter feed. It's just how I take care of that.
Marty has almost 6,000 Twitter followers.
Wow, that's it. There you go. That's pretty easy. Also, one more reason I guess would be that in Pinterest shop. So,
That's a problem.
even if you have the photo, it might not see.
That's a problem for me that I have these large followings. I have almost 3,000 on Facebook, so I can't see anything. You know, my stream is just like I can't keep up with it at all. In fact, I pretty much don't even try.
That's the problem I would like to have.
I got the first 1,500 by going after the people. I looked at my competitors, and I went out and started following. I carefully culled the people who were following my competitors. I just didn't blank anybody. I looked at their profiles and said, okay, that's in my community or my tribe as artists. So I'm looking at this is an artist, I want to follow them. If it was Nancy O'Dell or some other celebrity, I don't care about those people. The same thing, I look at who's following me. I don't follow back automatically. If you're not somebody that I'm interested in, into either internet marketing or in the art business, I won't follow you back.
That's not trying to be consistent.
You're talking about Facebook and Twitter?
On Facebook, almost everybody that follows me. Let me finish. I got to about 1,500 on Twitter, and I got to about 500 on Facebook by trying to look at specifically for people. And then after that, it just took off. No, I never look for anybody. They always find me. But having a lot of blog content with closing in on 600 posts, I have a lot of, and I've been doing it since 2007. So a lot of people want to know who I am, but that's another reason why you want to create new content and give it away. It comes back to you in other ways. But I don't worry about it on Facebook. If you follow me and I don't know you, you just go on my artist category. Either that or if you look like some weirdo, I don't follow you. Mostly on Facebook, I will friend almost everybody.
You created your own brand.
I don't tweet,
Okay.
but you're
Yeah.
saying tweet your content. You only have 140 characters, so I'm assuming you're sending a link.
Yes.
Okay.
So you can put in the title and edit the link. So one thing that I read about, and we have people who can confirm this, is that it's always better to put the link at the last as opposed to the beginning. And it seems to be, the research seems to say that the clicks are better if it's at the last, at the end of the tweet rather than the beginning of the tweet. So maybe others can confirm this.
I use Hootsuite. It always puts it at the end.
Oh, okay.
But I learned something somewhere, read it somewhere along the way, and I do believe it to be true. Hootsuite doesn't put in hashtag edit. I'll put in hashtag art, hashtag artist, and I also put in, because there's no recognition of who this tweet is coming from, I will put via @BarneyDavis. So I brand myself in my own tweets.
Right.
That way, if it gets retweeted, I know about it in 2 different ways, and also people looking at it will go, oh, that's something from Barney, I know him. I will click on that perhaps. And when I post weekly on Saturdays primarily because I have somebody who has 300,000 artists who syndicates my blog for me, which is another good reason why having a lot of content is cool. I get syndicated by that guy. He's tripled my blog list, my subscriber list by just syndicating my blog. Anyway, when I go out on Saturday, I'll post twice on Twitter on Saturday and 4 times on Sunday.
Just
7 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and maybe 9 o'clock at night. So because what you talked about, it's a stream.
Yep.
Somebody at 7 in the morning is not going to be reading Twitter,
Yes.
and if they do, they complain.
Yep.
So far,
Yeah, nobody's going to.
I don't think you can overtweet, but I seriously doubt if you're conscientious about it, there would ever be a problem.
Find and follow, search for the topics and show you how to search for it. follow the one that you tweet about, which is quite similar to what you're talking about, which is that you want to follow the people that interest you or are part of your interests. And why should you follow? It's as simple. You want to build a relationship. You want to understand what others are talking about. That's why you would want to follow. And sometimes, and if it's something that's interesting to them, if you're interested in them, they might follow you back and build an audience.
No picture, no follow.
And finally, let's respond, right? So you found something you argue with, agree with, you need to agree. And this again comes back, the respond part of it comes back to the 90-10 that was talked about earlier. You want to chime in with your own perspective, you want to not want to do things, you want to have a conversation rather than go with it. Sell. And so you want to talk about things, you find something interesting, you want to weigh in. And you can weigh in different ways. You can retweet, you can reply to that person, you can favorite it, but that's not once. So it's pretty simple. And why should you retweet? Very simple, you agree with that statement. You can also, with certain tools, you can retweet and add your own comment on top of it. So you can say, yes, I agree, but this is what I go ahead. It's something that you could do with the tools rather than website. It's not so easy. All right. We just talked about this, that it is a short attention span, short-lived, but at the same time, unlike Snapchat, so even if you have tweets, tweets do not disappear. But with Snapchat, it does disappear, so if you tweet something in 2010, probably be there as well, but nobody's going to go look at the tweets in 2010. So it's still probably going to remain there but disappear, unlike Snapchat. But it is short attention span. The trends really help. So if you're following, for example, if you're following football, while you're following it, not as a brand but as a person, you can find lots of comments. Right? So you can see all of that in that short span of time. You very rarely will find anything to do with the game on Sunday today. It's all on Sunday. So it also means that it's very fluid. So you need to be reading all the time. Again, following the 90-10 rule, you need to find follow and sometimes unfollow as well. So it's possible that you follow someone that well, maybe annoying, I wouldn't take that word, and you might not want to see what they're doing. Come the follow button again, it's strange to unfollow. Unfollow them. You don't like them. It's fine. It's okay, no big deals. Okay, so can we do this really work? So we have people that have validated it and have some more real ideas. So here are some ideas that I'm going to throw out there. This is for marketing campaigns that have come up today. A definition first, please. So definition is a marketing campaign is a specific defined series of activities. So a specific defined series of activities marketing for a new or changed product or service or in new marketing channels and methods. So even a new post is either you can treat it as coming up, you want to tweet about it, but it's specific and defined series of tasks. So really what you're saying is that you need to have a goal, you need to have a plan, and you want to measure those results. Right? So yes, you can go on Twitter and spend your entire day on it, but are you really marketing unless you have a goal, unless you have a plan, unless you have results? So without getting too much into it, let's look at some ideas that I have. You can jump in and tell me if I'm wrong about this as well. So you want to content as soon as possible. It can be about things that could make that automatically tweet about the whole post. You could do it immediately, you can validate, not immediately if you want to do this started in 5 seconds. You don't want to do that. You probably want to do it in a way that touches a lot of people. You should update a post probably want to do about it. This is something that I found interesting is that when I went to someone's site and I clicked on the tweet button, they actually came back and they favorited my tweet. So I found that that seems to be a way that to engage with people. So I just found that interesting. You can reply if you're part of a conversation, you see something that's interesting. You can reply on Twitter because it's your blog. It needs to be for like content. You don't want to be talking about weather when it's conversations about words. Right? So that's one thing. And finally, there are promoting tweets that are there. I just put the link and I'm going to talk about it in March. I'm not sure whether it's really useful, but maybe others can do more about it. I've seen some tweets that are targeted to me. So I've seen a lot of tweets coming in from Qualcomm because I'm a advanced engineer, so they seem to be sending stuff to me. So I think it's useful based on that you're able to target an audience. I don't know much about tweets on Snapchat. I'm not a business from that angle. Anyway, this is one campaign that you could run. Really consistent always. Event a product launch, you want to tweet ahead of time, start early, tweet about the event at least once a day, integration activities. And in fact, this is exactly what I did just before the meetup. And I had Mark retweet, I had others tweet as well, eventually all using this event that we're having right now, which is the meetup. So I'm tweeting about it, saying that I'm going to talk about Twitter a couple of days back. And so it's quite interesting to see as well. It can be a small event like Meetup like this, or it could be something massive, which you are conducting. So either way, we need to plan it with the rest of the month. And you want to use a consistent hashtag that you can always use as far as this event is concerned. So this is one more type of campaign that we could run. And the third thing, which is what we were doing right now, which is like reading. Right? And we could read during an event. So this is event. Partners who are reading, you can read yourself, which is great. You can get others to read, which is right. It's like this. Or change this. Go to Twitter and say, wasn't even kind of a great audience.
Another question about hashtags. Generally, so my organization goes to a lot of conventions, topical conventions, also based on whatever it is. So those organizations usually have hashtags that they associate with themselves. So we, for the most part, use those, but then we present at those conventions as well. So we then typically try and come up with a unique hashtag just for our panel as well. But you know, in that character limitation can be really challenging, and I'm curious about what other people default to. I mean, obviously, if you use a bigger hashtag, more people will see it, but then it's noise, right? I mean, you're just one of a bajillion, versus if you can use that unique hashtag, you're hitting a smaller audience, but they're more directed.
I guess so. End of the day, what I found was when I went to a couple of conferences, my experience has been that there was this board up there that showed the live feed. It was pretty cool because you could see stuff and everybody was using hashtag. So it was more about us as a community using it. Obviously, there are companies as well doing it, and if you really wanted to engage with that community manager, the name is there anyway. So the hand is there, and it's people there. A couple of people did that to get a few PDs.
Well, that's right, because on our slide decks, we always would put the individual hashtag, and then we would go to like tag board or something for advertising. There's all the comments that people made during our panel or whatever, because it made it easy to find them.
So you could run you were basically running some kind of stage or contest.
So the initial hashtag I've seen where they just take your Twitter handle instead of trying to come up with a unique hashtag every time, use the conference hashtag and then your Twitter handle.
Okay.
And so that way you can get all your mentions and then filter out all that hashtag.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then I've seen them do it that way because of the multiple hashtags that are for all of that.
Right.
And then your Twitter handle is on all of those hashtags that are on the conference stuff. So you're kind of getting that exposure.
Okay.
So that's kind
Well,
of
that probably makes sense.
Cool.
What about, I think about trying to brand a hashtag that you use every time you went to a conference, so that everybody knew that, you know,
So we do have one.
you get a cool-
Yes, we do have one, but and again, that's why I asked you, for some reason, we just thought we needed to come up with unique hashtags for each panel, that we did 6 panels, and so we wanted to be able to, you know, say, hey, if you're coming to Sweet Fest, then tweet out, you know, Sweet Fest 2014, if you're very slow.
It sounds like too much for Twitter, for
Yeah.
40 characters, unless it's in Chinese, right?
Well, of course, we have.
That's just a hashtag. So,
There's all these shortening apps or websites that if we do it, Google has one now, I mean, I think that would be helpful, like preserve characters or.
We'll do it for you.
well,
Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter.
Oh, really? So you don't have to count it that much?
But I don't even know if you're not getting characters counts for your opinion.
I don't know.
That's not
Yeah, I don't
count at all.
no, what they do is, so Twitter is t.co, so it's 3 characters that they use.
Yeah, that's the GoDaddy one where I just retired from last month after 6 years. So if you're using X.co, I've got 100 custom shorteners on there.
Right.
So you can go to x.co/Barney, and that's
That's yours.
how you can subscribe to my website, so pardon me, to my blog. So I use the custom shortener, which to me makes a whole lot of sense. That way I can actually, it looks like something to somebody like, okay, now somebody actually wrote this. It's taking me somewhere that I believe where unless I'm more inclined to click on a link that somebody custom shortened than just some random bunch of letters
Yeah,
and
so
numbers.
I guess a similar thing would be New York Times, which actually uses ny.int or something like that. Something to that effect, which is, it looks like New York Times. You read it, but it's actually a shortened URL. So that's, and to add to the point, actually, I think it provides the option for similar GoDaddy also does that.
So you can just set up a GoDaddy, free GoDaddy account. You don't have to buy any products. You just need to log in, create an account, and then you can, log in as a user. Then you can use their custom shortener, which to me, and as long as you archive them, plus it keeps track of how many, some of my shorteners have been used, on 3,000 times.
Awesome.
So it's nice to be able to actually, when they're archived, you can see, is this doing anything for me?
So you're able to do the analytics on it.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. All right, and so these were things that we had to participate and respond to questions. So one of the things that I found was, especially if you're running a webinar, and you're doing live feed at the same time, then questions can come in over Twitter, and you can respond to that on the webinar. Person can respond on the webinar. So I found that being used in one of the webinars that I attended. So other users which I have found, so I found that some businesses are really good at supporting customers. Mainly because I think earlier people would go to Twitter and rant, say this business sucks. So then someone thought, hey, why not put our support guys out there to actually prove that it doesn't suck. So I found that, and that they seem to have multiple accounts with one specific for sport. Found that to be the case. One for general staff and one for the sport, and the support one where you think a lot. You could run contests, of course. So there are some guidelines out there on how you want to do it. What I've done is the last one, which is actually ask for support. So in case you put a problem from somebody, I actually send them questions and they respond. I found the last one to be useful to me as an individual. If you're running a business, then you probably could use your support business fast.
If you're running a business and you're not, you are at risk of your reputation being damaged in ways that you don't even
Probably.
know.
Yeah.
So if you, at the very least, you need to monitor it if you don't have a staff to respond.
Hey, and a couple of tools. I personally use feedback. I'm not able to show it in the presentation. I like it. I highly recommend it. It's by Twitter because something that got bought by Twitter. My personal opinion, it's not fun to use Twitter.com. It would be far easier and far more fun for me to use the deck. I prefer it. I recommend it. Twitter has opened up their analytics. So let me show you some interesting analytics. Let's see. Open this up. Okay, so this is me and it shows.
That's it. Nice.
That's when I started taking Twitter serious. Last 30 days. So that's why you see this is a little bit out here. Yeah, you can see a lot more stuff. You can actually go in and see your tweets and replies. You can see your engagement. Woohoo! Yes, I've got a lot of engagement going here. Engagement going here. So you can actually see who did that. I think this is. And then I have a lot more. I will maybe go saving somebody. So with that, I can look at my followers. This is pretty new. And as far as my research tells me, I think this was available to businesses earlier, but right now it's opened up to kids as well. I think earlier it was a paid service, but now it's free. So if you just go to analytics.twitter.com, you can run the same analytics as well.
Nice.
And I found this to be pretty useful. I was using Cloud just for fun, something like that, just to see, get a kick about the number. I really don't know what's the point of it now, but it's a couple of the ones that I found, Buffer, Hootsuite, because of Hootsuite, they have both of them about free plans. Buffer is pretty particularly useful for scheduling and management, especially they claim that they have analytics. They have an algorithm that schedules your tweet at a time where your followers are most active. I don't know how they do that, but they claim that, and that's what they say is their USP. So a lot of people see like that. They do have a free plan, which costs
They don't. I go there, but they don't do Facebook. It's not as.
It's only Twitter.
It's not as robust as Hootsuite, and to me, it's like why do both?
Yeah, it makes sense. Pick one.
They're losing a huge audience by it's a blind spot on their part, in my opinion.
Yep, I do. But for all you know, they might be all looking for selling the business also. But I don't know what they're up to, but that's what we're doing. All right, so it sounds really dry, especially for new people. This can sound really dry. What is this? Honestly, as someone, as an individual, I found it to be lots of fun. So let me just show you some examples of things that happened on Twitter recently. This was really funny. I think there's a guy who actually in the UK who said, I wanted a pizza and cake with no toppings. And Donna said, yeah, please let our UK guys know. And then we realized that we were looking for more stuff. I know we did that, but anyway. And he tweeted that too. I found this hilarious. I found this hilarious. And I found this to be particularly hilarious over time. So we had a serious looking thing from David Cameron, who's the Prime Minister of the UK, saying, I can talk to Barack Obama about this. All right. And someone in his office has tweeted this. It looks like you're being a statesman, you think you're dabbling in international politics, and you're trying to do the right thing. And immediately following that, we had this tweet. It said, I'm on line 2. And got crust placed out there. Saying, as iPhone fan, and people are actually retweeted this particular thing, making fun of David Cameron and Barack Obama. It was 6,000 odd people on 5th of March.
That's fantastic.
And it was quite good. And then we had Patrick Stewart, who actually came in and said, I'm fashion as well. And got wet wipes. That's one department. Okay. And he started writing this. So it was pretty fun to follow this, especially. So it's fun. And one more example is, we all saw this, great. And the reason I'm putting this up is, you see the 3 million retweets and the 2 million favorites out there. But there was some controversy about this as well, because this tweet went out on a Samsung phone because Samsung had paid Ellen to tweet with it. But someone actually figured out that when she was tweeting backstage, she was actually using her iPhone. So I don't think the Samsung players are too happy about that. But anyway, and also one more thing. I recognize Brad Pitt, Robert, Lawrence. Nice people, but who's he? So it actually turns out that there's actually a lady at the back that she was her brother. So he actually photobombed everybody and got his face out there. And he's not an actor, he just happened to be there as a guest. And the funniest thing I saw,
Now he's famous.
now he's famous, at least he's Twitter famous. And the best thing I saw about this was a day later from The Simpsons. Who's this? On Twitter. This was really cool because they have caricatured everybody. And can anyone spot Bart Simpson? Yeah,
Oh,
right,
yeah,
right there. I really like this part, to be honest. And so it's fun. So it's not all dry, it's not all cut and dry, it's fun. I personally think it's fun. And it's all topical, primarily because it's fun. And so all of these tweets happen very quickly. So that's when the jokes are, that's when the jokes make it a very good fun. So finally, polls. So we are on Twitter, we did that. Can we use the Twitter for business? I hope I've convinced you, because anyone think you can't. I think that how many people Twitter for celebrities, spokespersons, stars? We asked for this. That's why marketing people are on it, because it's fun. And that's it. So it's all ahead. Thank you. Now that I got the ball rolling, hopefully we'll have more volunteers next time.
Yeah. So I've told the story before. I presented a year ago the Headway Themes thing out in Scottsdale, and Betsy got me to tweet about it. She says, "I see you got a Twitter account. You haven't used it in 2 years. You need to tweet about this." So I did Headway Themes hashtag, and the Headway Themes guy saw it and thanked me, and then he started following me, and we now also have a sponsor. I'm not sure if they're directly responsible for that or not. The last presentation I did was on iThemes. I did the same thing. I tweeted about it. I was really just trying to get more people to the meetup, but iThemes saw it because I did their hashtag, you know. And so she actually sent me an email, sent me some T-shirts, a bunch of other stuff. And then I was talking about live tweeting. I was following one of their live tweets about security, and they said if you go to this link and enter the contest, we're going to give away an iThemes Security Pro subscription, and I won that. So I'm pretty sold on Twitter. The interactive amount of it and the part of it is really what I like about it, you know. And it, you know, things can go viral, and you never know who's watching. You know, Barack Obama could be watching.
Or the guy who looks like that.
Right. Awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, talk amongst yourself, grab a coffee, do whatever, but thank you all for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks,